Game 7 going down Sunday afternoon in OKC with the Nuggets in town. And the past couple seasons, the past couple years have all been leading up to this for the OKC Thunder. If they cannot pick up the W, it's going to be a tremendous disappointment. So this team has been stripped down significantly over the years. A lot of big-time superstar talent out the door. KD, Westbrook, Paul George, CP3. You got a lot of young talent and draft picks coming in so that they can succeed specifically in this situation. Game 7, can they get over the hump? So let's get into it with our best bets. Let's get started here with the over. I think the total is too low, 212.5 for this one. So right back to the well on a bet that I made in Game 6 for many of the same reasons. I think this number has been adjusted way too much. Game 1 of this series in OKC closed with a total of 229.5. Have it all the way down right now to 212.5. Game 2 was at 230. Even Game 6 in Denver had a total of 218.5. I think this is too much of an adjustment. 5 of the 6 games in the series have topped this number. The one that didn't was a pretty significant outlier. Game 4, where neither team scored more than 92 points. OKC has been so good offensively in the playoffs at home, where they're averaging 125.8 points per game. They went off for 149 in Game 2 of this series. The Nuggets defense really falls off on the road, specifically in these playoffs here. The team's playing at a pretty decent pace here, a lot of free throws as well. And I think we often assume, hey, Game 7, these teams are going to be tight. It's going to be a low-scoring game. I think that's kind of factored into this total potentially. I think we should look to take advantage of it and go over that number. Okay, John, who you got covering the spread here?
I'm going to take the Thunder -7. I know the Nuggets have covered the majority of games in this series here, but you just look at, okay, like the discount on this because the Nuggets keep covering. It's like they were about like a 10-point favorite when this series opened and they were playing those home games. Now you're down to 7, and I just feel like people probably don't want to take the Thunder, and that's why it's come down here. And I feel like that 10 points is the accurate number. So like you kind of have a discount now because of what you've seen a couple games there. You think 7 looks like a big number, especially a Game 7 where, you know, both teams obviously will be, you know, trying to, they shouldn't get caught off guard. The Thunder demolished them in Game 2. It's not like you haven't seen it once. You've seen it in this series. They blew the doors off them for like 30-plus point win. It was not even close. The Thunder can blow this team out, and they have the depth to do it. Like you said, they're a much better team at home. This really comes down to the prices come down because I don't think people want the Thunder, and the Thunder haven't been covering in this series. So you're down 3 points. I think it should be 10. And then you saw Aaron Gordon pull up in the last minute there with a hamstring injury, but it was not really, you know, you don't really know what the significance of it was because it was kind of at that point where you're just fouling, taking free throws, fouling, taking free throws. We don't know. Is he playing? Like, we don't even know that. So I think you have a good edge on this number with Aaron Gordon in. And then if Aaron Gordon's out or he's limited or the minutes are limited, then that edge just even grows. So we'll have to see how that injury report kind of breaks out. I imagine he tries to give it a go because it is a Game 7, but a hamstring injury is a hamstring injury. Stephen Curry wasn't able to come back in any of those games. So I'm going to take the Thunder -7.
Okay, my favorite player prop for this one, I'm going to take Jamal Murray to go over his point total of 20.5 points. This is a big game player, and he has a very high ceiling in this spot. Check out some recent Game 7s. He had 35 in a Game 7 versus Minnesota last season. Too bad nobody else for the Nuggets showed up in that game. And he had a 40-point game in a Game 7 versus the Clippers in the bubble back in 2020. So he has topped this number in 4 of the 6 games in this series so far, including 25 and 28 in the last 2 games. So you could argue that he's getting better as the series has gone on. He also had a 34-point game versus OKC in OKC during the regular season. He's got a high ceiling. Look at the minutes. He's averaging 41.3 minutes. Expect that to continue, obviously, with everything on the line here. He's not going to have a lot of rest. And the volume should be pretty high here, averaging just 1.9 fewer shot attempts per game than Jokic in the playoffs here so far. So they're really going to be relying on this guy. And I think he's going to be able to go over that number. Okay, John, I love this storyline about how it's, you know, many years, a lot of sacrifice, the OKC Thunder leading into this game. If they don't win, Do you think they do something drastic here in the offseason? Because we often talk about it. They got all these first round picks, and you can only roster so many of these guys. You think they look to get in on Giannis?
I don't know. I don't think I would, just because I don't think Giannis and SGA are the best pairing, because like neither shoots threes. So it's if it was
Mm.
like that Curry Giannis, because now you have like the downhill clear the lane with a shooter who really stretches the floor out. So I don't think that necessarily works. I mean, J Dub had a really bad game last game. It is only his third year in the NBA. He's still really young, right? So even like Chet Holmgren, these guys are still really young. I think I would hold on to those first round picks, like, because you're kind of seeing these NBA playoffs, the teams with depth are kind of, playing, having a much more success. It's really hard when you can only, you can only play checkers. Everyone else is playing chess because they have all these different pieces they can move around. I think you kind of hold on to those first round picks and you use it to more manipulate the fact that you're like under the second apron or under the first apron and you have all these quality players, but like for good contracts. Like you could go trade, kind of like what they did, I guess, with Alex Caruso to a degree, where it's like, we can go get this guy who's a really impact like role player or something like that. And we can give 2 first round picks because we just have 2 first round picks to give and nobody can match that. And then all of a sudden we get like a good player, but like a good contract too. So I think you kind of keep bringing in those rookies who have cheaper contracts as well to kind of, so you can pay an SGA and you can pay a Chet Holmgren. I don't know. I just don't think Giannis is like the correct pairing. I do think like Chet Holmgren and Jalen Williams and all these guys, they're going to get better and better and better as their careers go on. So we are putting quite a bit of pressure on them for a guy who's like second and third year in the NBA.
Yeah, we'll see how they respond to the pressure. We've seen so many young teams. Like you remember, like a young Golden State Warriors team when they finally got over the hump. This is a similar situation, maybe for the OKC Thunder.